This slate's loaded. Producer Jesse, who may or may not start for Utah Saturday, we're going to see the line is fluctuating right now, but Producer Jesse tells me we have not had this many ranked versus ranked matchups in the same weekend since '05, I want to say. And if I'm wrong, it's on him, not me. So I am looking across this board, and it's easy to talk about FSU, Clemson. It's easy to talk about Notre Dame and Ohio State, Ole Miss, Bama, whatever. But I want to ask you, take the top layer of soil off of the surface. Where's the landmine game? Where's the one, because this Saturday's so clogged up with big games that no one's looking at, that come sundown, everyone's saying, can you believe that happened?
I'm not going to steal your thunder on this answer because I saw you tweet earlier this week about UCLA and Utah, and you just mentioned the quarterback situation there. And if Uncle Jesse is actually going to go out and play in that game, I hear it's still up for grabs, and it's actually possible this week. I do think that's going to be a great game. I love the UCLA rushing attack. I love number 20. They got him listed as a running back. He's like 6'4", 255, but he plays like H tight end. He's blowing people up left and right. I think that's going to be a fantastic game. So I'll let you have that.
Yes,
that
thank you. Thank you for not talking about that game whatsoever. Totally push that one off the table after 2 minutes. Yeah.
You keep that one. For me, this is a rivalry game. It means a lot to both fan bases. They have like a 175-pound trophy, and no one is talking about Arkansas at LSU.
Oh, wow.
This used to be one of the biggest games of the year. And this is where you and I agree that where we're going with divisionless college football, we're going to miss games like this on an annual basis down the road. I think this is a massive game. Now, a lot of people are going to look at what happened against Mississippi State last week and say, LSU's unbeatable. Oh, look at Jaden Daniels, 13 for 13 he started, and Harold Perkins is at the line of scrimmage. Great. I love it. They do a lot of good things. I think they got the running back situation figured out. And then people are going to look at Arkansas and say, oh, they lost to BYU. Well, they had an experienced quarterback. They couldn't convert third downs. They put the ball on the ground multiple times, and they lost a turnover battle. So I think, what does it take to find an upset? I think there are a couple of ingredients that you have to have. One is a takeover guy. It can be offense or defense. Helps a little bit more for that person to be on offense. KJ Jefferson can be a takeover player. Dual threat quarterback with power. He has been super accurate this season. Protection's got to get better. And yes, against LSU, that can be a problem. Two, I think you have to have a disruptive defensive line. And I think Landon Jackson and a couple of those defensive linemen for Arkansas are playing good quality football. The secondary is nowhere near the liability as it was a year ago. I think Travis Williams is going to probably look at a couple of games this year and say, let's not play man coverage the entire time and leave our corners on an island with these freak show cyborg wide receivers that LSU has. And this is a game that weird things have happened. So I think if you're looking for one that could go away that you don't really anticipate it, even if it's not an Arkansas win, but it's just being tighter, disruptive defensive line, takeover player on offense. By the way, everybody and their mom's telling LSU how great they are right now. Everybody's telling them they're in the playoff, and they got all their problems are solved, everything figured out. Unfortunately, one of your players got a brain tumor removed this week. There's distractions floating around Baton Rouge. I think this is a spot where Arkansas could maybe sneak up on LSU.
All right, so I'm actually not even going to do Utah UCLA. That was a head fake. I do think that it's going to be a good game, but you know what? I already broke it down earlier in the show. But you hear how thick this paper is. Like when I paper pop, that's not a thin pop, Immunity. That's a really thick pop. I am going to ask you to not ignore Rutgers at Michigan. Rutgers is not sneaking by teams. They beat Northwestern 24-7. Northwestern's a lot of academic prestige there. They beat Temple 36-7. They beat Virginia Tech. Michael Vick, Coach Beamer, they beat them 35-16. So anyway,
what did Vic go in that game? What was his?
I don't even know if he went. I don't even know if he went to attendance. But the point is, It's a proud program, and I need to bolster my point as much as possible. Have you watched Michigan this year? I know you watched their O-line. Have you watched games from Michigan this year?
I have watched sides of the football, not complete games. No, like I've picked and chosen a little bit to watch about them. I do love their O-line. I think J.J. McCarthy is exceeding expectations. He has somewhat taken the next step. Obviously, their backs are great. It seems like boring football because they're really good at what they do, right. And what they're really good at, not a lot of people are very interested in. But I think Michigan's one of the best teams in college football right now. Yes. I just appreciate the fact that you had to look at your computer to know what the scores of the Rutgers games were that you were going to reference on the show.
That's the best. Well, listen, they're not even top 9 in the JP poll. So Do you still want to say what you're saying right now? Because we all know how accurate that metric has been so far this year.
No, I can't go against that.
No.
Who could? I mean,
Hoops could. But that's not the one I'm going to. Hey, UTSA plays at Tennessee this week. Also, we got Oklahoma on top of the world right now, feasting on a pastry list of cupcakes, and they're all of a sudden on the road in conference play against a Cincinnati team. Jesse, who did they lose to last week? Miami of Ohio, who lost big time to Miami. So Transitive Property says if Oklahoma loses this Saturday, Miami is a prime contender to win the Big 12 because that's how that works. I just think we're at that time of year where some teams like rapidly scale up. It's not just the top 10 teams. Some team like Cincinnati or some team like Rutgers just get some stuff figured out or catch someone sleepwalking, and everyone's focused on other big games. I think that something somewhere is going to go bang, and hopefully it's on the list I just mentioned because I told you to list one and I listed 4.
what did we had like 3 of these weekends last year where we just had, it was just upset bonanza across all of college football. So I do agree with you to the extent that there are going to be a couple of these games that just don't go the way that we think they're going to. I just think Cincinnati, other than their defensive line, there's not a lot of spots that I look at and say that they're going to be problematic. I don't think that's the solution to knock off Oklahoma. I still think you're going to have some sort of power rushing attack and be able to control the line of scrimmage, take away some of those possessions from Jeff Lebby. Otherwise, I don't think you even have a shot to be able to pull that off. And don't do that with Tennessee, by the way, because UTSA does not have a Cam Jackson in the middle of their defense like Florida did. And that is what you have to be able to neutralize things and play good defense against that offense. 99 for Florida was out of his mind this week. UTSA doesn't have that. They might not even have their starting quarterback. So that's not going to be a scary game for Tennessee.
Hey, before I toss it back to you, and you can do whatever you want to, is Florida the second best team in the East right now?
It might be Kentucky, but based on who they've played, I don't know if we can definitively say that yet. It might be Florida because we talked about all those mistakes they made against Utah and falling down on the first play of the game, 2 guys with the same number, procedure penalties inside the red zone. They did a lot to help themselves lose that game. So maybe.
It's that kind
They asked us on Monday night on Read and React, they asked us to give them their top 5 teams in the SEC. I still can't believe we actually even attempted to do it because after 1, 2, and 3, I have no idea where we would go with that. I mean, it's completely nothingness.
I love how every August someone like me says, see me after week 1 and I'll have it all figured out. Meanwhile, we're headed into week 4. I don't know. Could be Kentucky. It's not Tennessee. Could be Florida. I don't know. Could be anyone. All right, hit me.
Hey, if Brady Cook's healthy, I'm just saying.
Watch out. But if he's not, watch out for Memphis.
Front 7.
St. Louis is a dangerous neutral game territory.